DP Minority Leader and Chairman Committee of Air Force, Senator Osita Moon. The Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, Audit Representative, the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Police Affairs, the Chairman of the Police Service Commission, representatives of government agencies and institutions, members of the civil society organization, security experts, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this important public hearing on the bill for an act to repeal the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Establishment Act 2019 and enact the Nigeria Police Trust Fund Establishment Act 2026. On behalf of the Senate Committee on Police Affairs, I thank you for honoring our invitation and for your continued commitment to strengthening policing, public safety, and national security in our country. Distinguished guests, the security of lives and property remains one of the most fundamental responsibilities of government. A professional, well-equipped, well-trained, and adequately funded police force is indispensable to the maintenance of law and order, the protection of democratic institutions, and the preservation of national unity. It was the recognition of this reality that the Nigeria Police Trust Fund was established in 2019 to provide supplementary funding for the Nigeria Police Force, particularly in the areas of training and retraining, acquisition of operational equipment, provision of critical infrastructure, and enhancement of the welfare and operational efficiency of police personnel. Over the years, the fund has recorded notable achievements in the execution of its mandate in the area of capacity development. The fund has sponsored and facilitated various training programs, especially on counter-terrorism and tactical operations, intelligence-led policing, explosive ordnance disposal, mechanical and technical training for police personnel, psychological support and acquisition reorientation programs, and leadership and management development programs for commandants and administrative personnel. The fund has similarly made significant contribution in the area of infrastructure and operational support through the execution of projects across the Federation, especially construction of new barracks and office complexes, rehabilitation of police stations and operational facilities, provision of perimeter fencing and security infrastructure, development of smart police stations and modern divisional headquarters, and construction of rank and file accommodation and other welfare facilities. These interventions have undoubtedly contributed to improving the operational effectiveness and welfare of officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force. However, despite these commendable achievements, the implementation of the current Act has not been without challenges. Questions related to funding framework of the fund, as well as litigation arising from certain provisions of the law, have created uncertainties that have affected the smooth execution of some aspects of its statutory mandate. It is against this background that the executive bill before us seeks to repeal the existing act and enact a new legal framework that can better address, identify gaps, and strengthen institutional governance, transparency, and accountability, as well as greater clarity on funding mechanism and long-term sustainability of the Nigeria Police Trust Fund. I wish to commend His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for demonstrating leadership and commitment to security sector reforms Through the sponsorship of this important legislative initiative, the proposed legislation reflects the administration's determination to strengthen the institutional capacity of the Nigeria Police Force and provide a more sustainable framework for supporting modern policing in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's public hearing provides valuable opportunity for stakeholders to carefully examine the provisions of the bill and make constructive contributions toward producing a law that will serve the best interests of the nation. The Senate Committee of Police Affairs remain committed to conducting a transparent, inclusive, and participatory legislative process. We shall carefully consider all memoranda, submissions, and recommendations presented at this hearing. Your contribution today will undoubtedly assist the National Assembly in enacting legislation that will further strengthen the Nigeria Police Force Fund as an effective instrument for supporting police reforms, enhancing operational capacity, and improving public confidence in the law enforcement. As we commence this important exercise, I encourage all participants to engage openly, constructively, and patriotically in the interest of our collective security and national development. Once again, I welcome you all and thank you for your presence. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I thank you for your attention.
I'm Minister of Justice, the representative of the General of Police, the Chairman Police Service Commission, the Deputy Secretary, Nigerian Police Trust Fund, my distinguished colleagues, especially the Chairman of the Committee on Police Affairs, His Excellency, the Senator Ambassador Ahmed Al-Mami Malan Migori, members of the civil society organizations present, security experts, developmental partners, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure that I stand before you to deliver the speech of the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, distinguished Senator Godfrey Obafabio, GCON. At the public hearing on the bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, Establishment Act 2019, and enact the Nigerian Police Trust Fund, Establishment Act 2026. Held today, Tuesday, the 2nd of June 2026, at the National Assembly Congress here we are today. It gives me great pleasure to address this distinguished gathering at this public hearing on the bill for an act to repeal the Nigerian Police Trust Fund and enact the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Establishment Act 2026. Let me begin by commending the Senate Committee on Police Affairs under its able leadership for organizing this important public hearing. I also wish to appreciate all stakeholders who are taking time to participate in this legislative process. Your presence here today is a testament of our collective commitment to strengthening Nigeria's security architecture and advancing the cause of effective policing in our dear country, Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, security remains the backdrop upon which every private society is built. Without security, economic growth is constrained, investments are discouraged, civil cohesion is weakened, and national development is jeopardized. It is therefore imperative that Nigeria continues to invest in institutions responsible for maintaining law and order, and protecting the lives and properties of its citizens. The Nigerian Police Force occupies a central place in our nation's internal security framework. As an agency with the broadest interface with the public, effectiveness has a direct bearing on public confidence in government and the rule of law. For this reason, successive administrations have sought ways to improve the capacity, professionalism, welfare, and operational readiness of the police force. The establishment of the Nigerian Police Force Fund in 2019 represented a bold and innovative effort to provide sustainable supplementary funding for policing in Nigeria. Since its inception, the fund has contributed significantly to capacity building, infrastructure development, acquisition of operational assets, and support for the welfare of police personnel. Through these interventions, thousands of officers have benefited from specialized training programs. Critical infrastructure has been developed and rehabilitated across the country, and valuable support has been provided to enhance operational effectiveness in the fight against crime and security. However, experience has shown that institutions must evolve to meet changing realities. As challenges emerge and lessons are learned, it becomes necessary to review the existing legal framework to ensure that they remain fit for purpose and capable of delivering on their intended objectives. The bill before us today seeks to strengthen the legal and institutional framework of the Nigerian Police Force by addressing identified gaps, improving governance structures, enhancing transparency and accountability mechanisms, and ensuring a more sustainable funding arrangement for the future. This legislative initiative is therefore not merely about fulfilling an existing law. It also is about building a stronger institution that can more effectively support the police modernization, improve service delivery, and contribute meaningfully to our national security objectives. As a parliament, we recognize that no legislation can achieve its full potential without the credit of stakeholders' thinking. That is why public hearings occupy a critical place in our legislative process. We provide an avenue for citizens, experts, professionals, and civil society organizations and government institutions to contribute their perspectives and enrich proposed legislation. The National Assembly remains committed to inclusive lawmaking and evidence-based policymaking. We value the opinions that will be expressed here today, and assure all participants that their submission will receive careful consideration as we work towards producing a legislation that reflects the aspirations and interests of the Nigerian people. I wish to commend His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ECFR, for his unwavering commitment to security sector reform and institutional strengthening. The executive decision to bring forward this bill demonstrates a recognition of the critical role that sustainable funding and effective governance play in the success of policing and the national security efforts. Let me also use the opportunity to commend the officers and the men of the Nigerian Police Force who continue to make sacrifices daily in service to our nation. Despite numerous challenges, they remain on the front lines in the protection of life and property. As policymakers, we owe them a duty to ensure that they are adequately equipped, properly trained, and sufficiently supported to carry out their responsibilities. The ultimately enhance the effectiveness of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund. The strength of our democracy depends not on the law we make, but also on the institutions we build and sustain. Today, we make another step forward towards building a stronger policing institution and safer Nigeria for our generations to come. On this note, it is my honor to formally declare public hearing open. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
For finding time to come and contribute to the review and enactment of this very important legislative piece. It has been a wonderful period of this opening ceremony, and I am sure that as we continue with deliberations and presentation of memoranda, we will have a very fruitful and very rich contributions. On this note, on behalf of the committee, we say thank you and may God bless you.
Police affairs under the leadership of Senator Ahmed Abdulhamid Malam Maiduguri for convening this important public hearing and providing stakeholders with the opportunity to contribute to a matter that is critical to the safety, security, and stability of our nation. Distinguished senators, representatives, honorable members, representatives of government agencies, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, press today, I am honored to present the position of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund on the proposed bill to repeal the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Act 2019 and to reenact the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Act 2026. The case of the new act. The Nigerian Police Trust Fund was established in 2019 to address the long-standing funding gaps of the Nigerian Police Force, particularly in areas of training, equipment, infrastructure, and personnel welfare. Over the last 6 years, the fund has served as a strategic intervention vehicle in supporting the transformation of the Nigerian Police Force. However, our experience in implementing the Act has revealed significant legislative, structural, and funding limitations that now necessitate a more robust legal framework. The security challenges confronting Nigeria today are far more complex than they were in 2019. Banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, cybercrime, organized crime networks, and emerging technological threats require a police force that is better equipped, better trained, and adequately funded to respond effectively to these challenges. As we have all witnessed in recent months, various security incidents across different parts of the country continue to place enormous pressure on our security institutions. To permanently address the security challenges facing the nation, the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has made security a central pillar of the renewed hope agenda. This bill will provide a stronger institutional framework to support the agenda by ensuring sustainable funding for police modernization, training, technology infrastructure, and welfare of the personnel. A safer Nigeria will encourage investment, boost agricultural productivity, reduce inflationary pressures caused by insecurity, and improve the quality of life for all Nigerians. The proposed 2026 Act therefore comes at a very critical time. The key promotions supported by this bill are: 1. The removal of the sunset clause. The every year government supports the complete removal of the sunset clause. Security challenges do not expire after these challenges, the Council collectively approved the recommendation for the increase in statutory allocation. This demonstrates a national consensus among critical stakeholders that sustainable investment in policing is necessary if Nigeria is effectively going to tackle banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, cybercrime, communal conflicts, and other emerging security threats confronting our nation. This enhancement will enable greater investment in modern surveillance systems, forensic laboratories, command and control centers, drone and technological solutions, rehabilitation of police barracks and stations, training institutions, mobility assets, and operational equipment for the Nigerian Police Force. These are no longer optional investments, they are necessities for an effective policing in the 21st century. 3. Diversification of funding sources. The proposed Act provides legal pathways for additional funding through international grants, development levies, special intervention funds, private sector contributions, philanthropic endowments. This will reduce dependence on a single funding source and improve the sustainability of police development initiatives. Stronger governance and accountability. The NPTF fully supports the enhanced governance provision contained in the bill. These include a broader stakeholder representation on the board, establishment of project implementation committee, mandatory technical and financial reporting, strengthened oversight mechanisms. This provision will further enhance transparency, accountability, and public confidence in the management of the fund. So far, despite existing concerns, the Nigerian Police Force Fund has demonstrated measurable impacts nationwide. Our achievements over the last couple of years have been training of personnel of the Nigerian Police Force, construction and commissioning of smart police stations equipped with modern policing infrastructure, provision of operational vehicles, CNG buses, procurement of marine gunboats, speedboats for protective equipment, arms and ammunition, construction of police barracks provision, divisional facilities, and critical infrastructure nationwide. These are achievements demonstrate the value of the fund and what can be accomplished when dedicated resources are provided for policing. Our vision for the next 5 years over the proposed framework, the NPTF aims to support continued smart police station in federal constituencies, state-of-the-art record hospitals across the 6 geopolitical zones, modern command and control centers nationwide, expanded training and capacity building programs, data centers and digital policing infrastructure, housing schemes for police personnel, enhanced welfare programs for officers and their families. This is the foundation for a modern, technology-driven, professional and citizen-focused police force. In conclusion, distinguished Chairman, distinguished senators, ladies and gentlemen, the proposed Nigerian Police Force on Establishment Act 2026 is not merely a legislative amendment, it is an investment in national security. It is an investment in safer communities. It is an investment in an economic growth and national security. Most importantly, it is an investment in the men and the women of the Nigerian Police Force who put their lives on the line daily to protect our nation. On behalf of the Nigerian Police Force Fund, I respectfully urge this distinguished committee and the National Assembly to support the passage of this bill, retain the proposed 1% funding framework, remove the sunset clause permanently, and preserve the enhanced governance provision contained in the bill. Together, we can build a stronger police force capable of protecting Nigerians, supporting Mr. President's renewable agenda, and securing the future for our great nation. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Federation Secretary. The policy alignments. And this ministry commends the National Assembly to repeal existing acts as amended by the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Amendment Act 2025 and to enact a comprehensive legal framework for the continued establishment and operation of the Nigerian Trust Fund. The Ministry observed that the bill is aimed to strengthen the operational capacity, efficiency, and welfare of the Nigerian police force through sustainable funding, acquisition of modern equipment, infrastructural development, and improved welfare packages for personnel. The bill also considered necessary consolidations of existing amendments into a single legislative instrument for clarity, coherence, and ease of implementation. And for instance, we looked at section 4(1)(b) of the bill, which provides for the trust fund, which consists of development levy allocated to the trust fund under the Nigerian Tax Act. Under section 59(3)(f) of the Nigerian Tax Act 2025, number 7, Nigerian Police Force is entitled to participate in the sharing of 10% of the development levy distributed to the Defense and Security Infrastructure Fund by the Nigerian Revenue Service, particularly by 2(1)(b) of the 14th schedule of the Nigerian Tax Act. So this is one of the provisions of the Nigerian Tax Act that lay credence to what the police trust fund is doing. This ministry further noted that the bill aligns with federal government's policy objectives on internal security reforms, institutional capacity development, and enforcement of the law enforcement operations in Nigeria. And accordingly, the proposed legislation is considered constitutionally valid, policy-oriented, and supportive of ongoing effort to strengthen national security and public safety. In conclusion, the ministry supports the Nigerian Police Trust Fund establishment in 2025, which seeks to repeal the existing Nigerian Police Trust Fund Establishment Act No. 6, 2019, as amended by the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Act, and enact a comprehensive framework for continued establishment and operation of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund. And I want to thank the Senate for giving us this opportunity to make comments on this and continued support for the Attorney for various schools and corporates. Thank you very much. 2026. The ministry recognizes the critical role of the National Assembly in strengthening institutions that support internal security, public safety, law enforcement, efficiency, and national development. The proposed repeal and re-examination of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Act represent a significant opportunity to consolidate the gains already recorded under the existing Act, while repositioning the fund to respond more effectively to emerging security challenges in Nigeria. The Nigerian Police Trust Fund
designed to provide sustainable funding for the training, welfare, logistics, operational support, and infrastructural development of the Nigerian Police Force. The establishment of the fund was informed by the urgent need to address decades of inadequate funding, deteriorating police infrastructure, insufficient operational equipment, manpower development gaps, and welfare challenges affecting the personnel of the Nigerian Police Force. Since its establishment, the NPTL has emerged as one of the most impactful intervention institutions in Nigeria's security architecture through the execution.
Executive Chairman, Police Person, Representative of Minister of Police Affairs, distinguished senators, distinguished gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. The new bill that is being honored has some takeaways, which I recorded as seen as commendable, especially in areas of the increase in revenue from 0% to 1%, and also the diverse additional funding, as well as the accountability package. However, going through the bill, we notice that the composition of the board, the IG was captured as ex-official member, and we demand that it should be the vice chairman of the board, because the NPTL itself is for the welfare and enhancement of the Nigerian police force.
You're making a reference so that we'll follow the why is actually being placed as ex-official, so that we'll quickly look at it.
That's what it is.
Under which number?
All right.
The composition of the board.
If you can't, you just go ahead.
Look for it. Then the second one, Section 3 subsection 5 of the bill also talks about creation of departments by competent authority. Here we feel the competent authority is the personnel authority, because the whole fund is to assist in how to safer Nigeria. Section 12, subsection 8, is very critical, talking about the need assessment. The IG is supposed to be the person to do the need assessment to the NPTL for implementation, because he knows what he needs. As we said, he who wears the shoe knows where it is. Next is the membership of the PIC, that is Project Implementation Committee. Section 13 of Section 2B, talking about the membership is for somebody of the rank of AIG, but here we feel it's supposed to be somebody not below the rank of CP, because other members of this PIC are directors, and AIG is not the equivalent of directors either. Coming to the highlights of all the benefits and objectives of establishing NPTF was highlighted under that section. However, Section 18, subsection 3 of this Act concentrates more on welfare of the board and their staff. So we need a review of all these sections. In conclusion, sir, the Act is not gender inclusive. So the mention of chairman instead of chairperson.
Crucial section because it talks about the minister having the power to give directives to the board of the general manager. We feel that technically means the entire trust of the department of the minister. We think there should be a caveat in that section. Again, the type of wording suggested in the notable minister. What I mean by that is the minister can give a general directive subject to the approval of the board of the trust. Because if that is not there, the bill doesn't capture all the directives in that directive. Right now, as it is written, the trust has no choice to carry that. So there has to be a provision that the board of the trust fund must approve such directive. So I think that, and the last one, again, I said because of time, I'm just going to give a few key ones. Now, I think the other thing also is in terms of the composition of the board. Now, it's interesting what came from the representative of NGP. Already the trust fund is being more police focused than even the last board. The 2019 Act, the chairmanship of the board is not specified in the detail. This one has specified it in terms of how to be a retired police officer. And also, remember the IG already have representative also on the board. So I think it's important for us to see whether we are being too prescriptive. If we just say there's a chairman of the board, if the president finds suitable is a non-police officer, so be it. If the president finds a police officer without police officer, so be it. But to tie his hands that it must be a retired police officer to be chairman of the board, I think that's not helping the president. I think I will stop there, but I have about 15 recommendations that I will pass the details to.
Mr. Chairman, let me hear from my brother. Reality. The board will put you in parliament and look at it. Whether the creation of the police will add to more police, and then we'll look at it. If more police, how many police? What we do, and then we'll keep them here. But for now, I ask them, it's speculative and it's unconstitutional. I pass no making process like that. So just a little bit of guide.
Thank you.
The intent of the amendment to the Act of the National Assembly is to strengthen existing laws that are in place. And part of our traditions as members of the National Assembly is about the governance structures that are generally in place. And let me speak to the issue of project implementation and monitoring and evaluation. While the Act made the passing provision on the issue of project implementation and monitoring and evaluation, but generally agencies of government, institutions, MDAs come before us and read out numbers of achievements. It's no different here actually. Police person has procured this, done this, done that. But the most critical element in all of this is evaluation. What is the impact of all of those procurement on the security, especially cultism, the digital economy, crime, all of this put together are new and very concerning emergency trends. And I think coming from the agency and the implementation organs, the Office of IGP, the Police in General, the Police Response, should be putting it together and availing the National Assembly with their initiatives and ideas on how to strengthen our communication to address these emergency security threats. And I think some of these also going to go back and sit down and look at all your solutions and harmonize them to come with a very robust act of parliament that will address this. So I suggest maybe going back on the comments I just made. Police response, the police force should be able to come together and raise some these issues as alleged from me and other members of the Senate to address this emergency. Thank you very much. Of the police. And I was wondering, what is the best way of addressing the issue of the welfare of the police? I believe it should enhance their salaries to also ensure that their pensions are properly provided for. And I'm wondering whether this act has room for that, or whether that particular concern is addressed through some other means. Because you provide all the gadgets, you provide all the vehicles, everything. If the people that are operating them are not properly taken care of, then I believe all the efforts will be in vain. Thank you, Chairman.
Pre-colonial and after colonial regime, the expectation of Nigeria that it is the police responsibility to police every day and crime in this country. And unfortunately, since 1999, when Nigeria becomes democratic again, not enough attention has been paid to the Nigerian police as an institution. I think this trust fund should be a catalyst for the judicial operations of the Nigerian police. When you accuse the police of constant corruption, maladministration, and so on and so forth, for some of us who are products of the family of Nigerian police, my grandmother from my mother's side was a policeman. As we sit here, we have almost 17 police officers in my family, one of which was the late Sally Abubakar, who happens to marry, was killed by Boko Haram. And when he was finished, we waited for the response of the Nigerian police, for the response of the Nigerian government, except his friends. Nobody has shown any empathy and towards family. And that's spread all over the country. In the course of this assignment, I have the course to visit bereaved police families in my constituency. And believe me much, in spite of this accusation of corruption, you go to those families, what you see is abject corruption. And I did say, show me your country, I'll tell you how the police is. Or show me a police, I'll tell you the country is. It is imperative, gentlemen, that for us to progress as a nation, we must make sure that we're putting our police rights. Almost all the developed countries that have developed, where they are now, their police
as a catalyst of that development. You go in to this city around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and you meet police officers or checkpoints. And because of our connection with the police, you usually park and then have a session with them. Where are you coming from? Cuba. Where are you coming from? Yemen. Where are you coming from? Rwanda. How did you go there? They will pay transport. Are you being given the transport for you to work? No, sir. How are you going back? I'll give money to go back. Are you being given money to go back to Rwanda? That's no. So that means you are forcing our personnel to use the advantage, take the opportunity, force in them to extra commitment to their life. Nobody cares about them. You go and see them, almost everywhere that you see. Process for utilizing this fund. And that's why it is our view that will expand how this fund assesses its money and making sure that even those that are not captured here, we look at the country, we look at business concerns, we look at the oil industry. What are they putting? Finally, I'm sure that the ID here, in spite of our huge security concerns, you see BNBs. And we mentioned this one too. One BNB carries 12, 18 security personnel. In his centralized, you go to his house, 20, 10 police personnel. Therefore, one person utilizes 20, 30 security personnel. And the place sometimes, it's not even very officials. Private persons who are supposed to now do their own security business, and they go about, therefore, we have to look remote, we do not have any country like this country. So we will do the needful, and we will make sure that here in this divide, we bring backwards. We make it sure that the police have attained their rightful place. I thank you very much.
Greater accountability, greater transparency, greater commitment. The management of police response, police have to work closely together to ensure that there is no from this side of the chairman, I can assure you are going to have aggressive oversight of the activities. Microscopic oversight, if you like, and will make sure that the right thing is done. We will strengthen your systems, we will point out areas of lapses, and even your procurement processes will ensure that it is seamless, it is transparent, and it is open. On this note, Mr. Chairman, sir, thank you very much for your attention. And let me avail myself of the opportunity